I'm the scat man. I'm the scat man.
Well, that beat that never fails to get me hyped up, man.
I'm surprised Mick didn't like superimpose your face on Josh as the last 2 days.
Well, I can't be Batman. I got to be more like Robin, maybe. Kind of like filling in. Welcome everyone. NHL Puck Props presented by Sports Interaction with 14-year NHL veteran Carlo Colaiacovo. Again, as you can see, Jingles is still off this week. Elbows deep in his renos. Actually, producer Mick, before we get going, I think we got a couple photos. We got some photos there.
No.
Look at that fresh floor.
No way. Jingles did all that?
Doing that himself. I think we got some light fixtures as well, maybe there. Putting in new light fixtures in his dining room.
Look at this guy.
He is putting in
work. From Stackman to Handyman. Look at him.
The Property Brothers would be proud. I think
nice.
So. Shout out to Jingles doing that. So again, I am Jared Hockman filling in for today. Josh will be back tomorrow. Josh put in work there. Our picks, they almost put in work last night, Carlo.
We were this close to having a monster night, man. Who would have thought a third period in Colorado would have ruined it for us all?
Yeah, Devils imploded. Vancouver did well. So we started out 2-0, finished 2-3. But the beauty of betting, there's always tomorrow, and tomorrow is today. We have a loaded 12-game slate on the schedule. Try to pair through it. We got 6 bets for everyone here, but as always, for the pumpers in the chat, share your plays, share your thoughts. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. And let's get into it. We're going to start off with the Islanders and the Bruins. Carlo, we got teams clinging on to faint playoff hopes. Islanders get a boost with Noah Dobson expected to return to their blue line, whereas the Bruins are absolutely decimated on the blue line with Charlie McAvoy and Hampus Lindholm out. But there's an opportunity there where we're starting at. We're looking at Bruins defenseman Mason Lowry to get a point at +110 at Sports Interaction. He's the man now in that blue line with everyone else out there. 22 minutes played in each of the first 2 games of the break. He's got 4 assists total. He's on that top power play, with Pasternak, Zacha, Marchand. He's got exposure there. Facing an Islanders team that just gave up 5 goals to the Rangers. And that saw Urho Vakanainen, Braden Schneider, and Ryan Lindgren combined for 6 points. So the Islanders, point shot can get there. I think Lowry also had 10 shots in these first 2 games. He's putting pucks on net. He's in the right spots there. It was +160 2 days ago. Still getting plus money here. Best price at Sports Interaction. I mean, these teams are chasing to get in that wild card spot. They got to do whatever they can, and everyone needs to step in, right?
Yeah, I mean, normally a Boston and Islanders game wouldn't necessarily scream offense because these 2 teams are, known for playing defensive hockey. But you mentioned it. It's desperation time for both teams, right? Especially for the Boston Bruins, who are on the verge of entering a territory that is very, very unfamiliar to them in many years, and that's being a seller come trade deadline with all the players that are missing in their lineup and the lack of success that they've had over this recent stretch. But credit to Mason Lowry. He's been given an opportunity to play, in an elevated role, and he's been taking advantage of it in a massive way. I mean, if you go back to that Mitch Marner overtime goal, right before that, Lowry made an incredible individual effort, came to the front of the net, should have put the puck in the net. Stolarz made a big save, and they went right down, and Marner scored. So I think you're getting good value on a guy that's going to be on the ice a lot.
Yeah, you're getting plus money. He's in all those spots. We'll take it there. Again, like I said, these aren't the Islanders and the Bruins we're used to seeing. A little more leaky where we're going, so we're going to go for a point there. You're going to go next to another 2 teams. One team still kind of in the Bruins chasing that spot. Another team that's out of it completely, but there's a lot of hope. The Sharks and the Habs playing in the Bell Center tonight. Listen, we got a matchup between the 2 Calder Trophy favorites here. Macklin Celebrini's -350 right now. Lane Hudson is +350 at Sports Interaction. No one else within 15-1. Before we get into it, Carl, is there any value in betting Hudson there? Can Hudson overtake Celebrini?
I don't understand why Celebrini is that much of a massive favorite. I mean, you look at the season Lane Hudson is having. He's a defenseman as a rookie. Like, we don't see this type of production from a rookie in the NHL very often. He could potentially eclipse 60 points as a rookie defenseman. You're not going to give him the Calder Trophy. To me, that doesn't make any sense. The last two defensemen that won the Calder Trophy, both Makar and Moritz Seider, both had 50 points as a defenseman in their rookie season, and they won it. So if Lane Hudson gets there or eclipses it, plus 350 is still incredible value. I know I can understand where the books are going here because it's Celebrini, the number 1 overall pick. He's a forward, probably has a better chance of leading the scoring come defensemen or come rookies. But I'm obsessed with Lane Hudson. I played defense. I marvel over the way that he plays. I do Habs games. I would still bet him to win it. And I think for a Thursday night matchup, Montreal, San Jose, that would normally not have many people's attention, this one is going to get a lot of attention just because this is the first time these two guys are playing against each other.
Yeah, I mean, Hudson, every night he has at least 1 or 2 highlight plays or plays. He makes hard plays look easy.
Yeah.
And we've got some bets on those 2 rookies. We're going to start with Hudson. We're going to take him to get an assist tonight at even money at Sports Interaction. Listen, for him to get a point, it's minus 130. We can gain 30 cents here by going with the assist. He's got 39 of his 43 points are on apples. He's on that top power play with Suzuki and Caulfield of the boys. And, listen, the Sharks are pretty leaky on defense. Looks like Alexander Georgiev might be in nets tonight. That will definitely be a downgrade compared to Vitek Vanecek. And, I think you're going to see he's going to be pumped up. He's going to be going against Celebrini. This is kind of, like I said, one of those statement games to try and help sway influence for voting for the Calder Trophy. And I think you're going to see Hudson rise to the occasion there. On the other side, I think Celebrini's got to deliver too. He's been outstanding. You don't hear as much about him generally because he's in San Jose and they're terrible, but he is scoring at an insane rate and he's dragging his kind of line mates along with him. So we're starting with our first stack, which we are seeing Bobby Newport called out there as well. Celebrini, Eklund, and Toffoli at plus 300. That is that top line. They are on the top power play. Celebrini's got points in 8 of 10. Eklund's got points in 5 straight. Toffoli has points in 6 of 7. If you want, you could also round robin them in the plus 160 to plus 200 range. Take each of the pairs there. We looked at the Habs ones. It's just the price for Caulfield and Suzuki is so high. You're not getting as much value. You get a little more value here. No, the Habs are playing much better defense. They just shut out Carolina. I think we could see a little more offense in an open game, though, especially if this is a little bit leaky. So we're going to look for a little bit of action in the Bell Center tonight.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with Montreal coming out of the break. Winners of 2 in a row, look like a re-energized team. Slavkovsky has found a new level of play. And you look at Slavkovsky's year last year, it was post All-Star break where he took off. And he's on pace right now after 2 games to hit that same level of hockey. And that could do wonders for Montreal. And they've been better defensively. Montembeau's look good in net. I would imagine he's starting tonight again. And San Jose, like they're playing with house money, right? I mean, with the move of trading out Granlund before the break, it's opened up the door for more ice time for Celebrini, Eklund, and Toffoli, and they haven't disappointed. That's for sure.
Yeah, and if you're interested in the double rookie stack, if you want to do Celebrini and Hudson for a point, you can find it around plus 182. That's not a bad little play there for both rookies to stand out. Moving on, I think like you see Tim Powell in the chat, Columbus to make the playoffs at plus 650. Feel like he kind of maybe has our script here at our set list because we're going to that game next. Columbus at Detroit. Carlo, when is the last time a Columbus-Detroit game mattered?
Yeah, that's a good question. Tonight.
Exactly. They are currently occupying the last 2 wildcard spots. They are playing. This is a warm-up for Saturday Stadium Series game. Got a total of 6.5 in an indoor affair, sitting at plus 105 to the over. I think we're going to see a lot of offense. I think we're going to see both teams score a lot. So we're looking at both teams to score 3+ goals at plus 175.
What?
That's action. We're going to go a big one there. Listen, the Red Wings, they've got 3+ goals in 9 straight games, 10 of their last 11, 4+ goals in 4 of the last 5. But you look at over the last month at even strength, they are 6th in expected goals for and 31st in expected goals against. So all offense, no defense. You meet that with Columbus, who is 27th in expected goals against during that period as well. And they have 11 goals in 2 games since the Four Nations break. They've gotten Kirill Marchenko back. He's really kind of powered them. Again, you're looking at a total of 6.5 here. It's, rather than going the over there plus 105, go plus 175 and get both teams to score. If you can get 7 goals or more, I think you're going to see it. there's a lot of firepower in both of these teams tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. And the boost for the Blue Jackets is getting Marchenko back. It seems like when he went out, the offense went dry, and they found their spark again coming with him returning to the lineup with a big win the other night. And Detroit, I mean, like, the win the other night in Minnesota, down to rallying back to win 3-2. You're looking at the players that you targeted for the stack. Those have been the guys that have hit in the score sheet when they do score a lot. So it's a very favorable matchup to hit that plus 500 stack. Let's go.
Yes. So Tim also called it this. We're going to go with the top kind of two players from both teams, Marchenko, Voronkov, Larkin, and Raymond, each to get a point. You see Tim Pal also called out maybe adding Fantilli in there as well. Listen, they're both on the top lines, top power plays. Both the Columbus guys have 4 points since the break. Raymond's points in 5 and 6. I think Larkin 6 and 9. A lot of offense. We saw that caller there, Hal called 2 bad penalty kills. The only reason it's not a triple is because Marco Kasper for Detroit's not really on that top power play with the other guys. But if you want to look at maybe Zach Werenski and Mo Seider to get involved there, you're looking at 11-1 for kind of a double forward and defenseman stack. So a lot of options there to play with as you're going through there on two teams that are fighting for playoff spots and fighting to score a lot of goals. From teams that are good to a team that is really, really bad. Chicago Blackhawks, they're in Vegas. Carlo, we got to spread it -2.5 for Vegas at nearly even money. that says all you need to know about this game.
Man.
Listen, Chicago.
The Blackhawks, I don't get it, man. I don't see any direction with them.
Well, it's rock bottom. Did you see Seth Jones' quote after the last game? He said this is the exact same team as game one. They haven't made any strides to be a better team or a more simple team. And it shows. And I know Seth Jones asked for a trade, but like when one of your kind of veteran leaders is calling you out like that, like that's a tough indictment for what we're seeing for this team.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is, but it's also Seth Jones doubling down on his own personal feeling of where his position is, right? I mean, this is a guy that has come out the last couple of weeks and said, I would like to, entertain the opportunity to play on a winning team. Feels like we're not taking any steps forward here, and basically indicated he wants out. So not surprised to see him step out and say stuff like that. You can clearly see and hear now a lot of players that have been speculated to be on the move coming out and voicing their frustration. I mean, Luke Shen did it the other night too in Nashville, right? So, I think for Seth Jones's future, he's got to find somewhere else to play and re-energize himself, because it's just been so deflating in Chicago the last couple of years. And now, if that happens, you kind of wonder about the future of Connor Bedard. Like, what are they going to do to keep this guy happy to stick around there?
Yeah, I think I saw a stat that he's played with like 16 or 20 different wingers already. Like, he can't find any chemistry. And again, Chicago, Seth Jones just needs to be re-energized. That whole team, they don't play defense. So you look at them, they gave up 5 goals in 3 straight games. Now, they finally only gave up 2 to Utah in their last one, but the shot attempts in that game were 61-19 for the hockey club. Like, that's just the domination there. And I don't think it's going to get any better tonight. So we're going with a big number here. We're going to go with Vegas team total over 4.5 at +130. Listen, Vegas, they're going to be angry after blowing that against the Kings the other day. They're going to wash the taste out of that mouth. But I'm looking at Chicago. It's the 4th game in 6 nights for Chicago. I think you could see the gas. They might run out of it in the end there. But I'm also looking at some math here. So you go with the over 4 at -115, but you look at the full game total. It's a flat 6 shaded to the over. What's the way to get to 7 goals here in this game? Probably 2 for Chicago, 5 for Vegas. If you're looking at a -2.5 spread.
Yeah, I think so.
You're looking at it that way. So if you're gonna like the full game over rather than go -115 on the over, take the +130 with Vegas, because 5 goals is probably the way to get there. Yeah. And so again, I think they're gonna pile it on. I don't think they're gonna let up here. If you want to look at some stack options from the top power play unit, you got Thomas Hertl and Pavel Dorofeyev. They're only around +130. Or if you wanted to go with Ivan Barbashev and Victor Olofsson, they flank Eichel on the top line, but they're on the power play too. But again, I think you could see a lot of offense here. They're around +275 so you can get it there for top wingers on the same power play unit. Could be some action there. Before we go, I do want to touch a couple things. You talked about Luke Shed's comments. What happened in Nashville? They are lost in so many ways.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got ahead of themselves, right? They thought that magical run they went on last year was going to carry over into this year, and they brought in some really expensive pieces in the offseason, and it just hasn't fit. It hasn't fit, and nothing of what they've been trying to do has worked. And the feeling is when players that you look at as big players in your team aren't doing the things you expect them to do, it's a trickle down effect, right? Now the pressure starts to mount on everybody else on the roster, and they're the biggest confusion in the NHL right now, because they have amazing talent, star-studded names, but as Luke Schenn said, he's never seen anything like it about a team that struggles so much to score. It's crazy.
Marchessault, Stamkos, Forsberg, Yossi, and I think it's not going to get easier for them tonight too. They're facing Winnipeg, and Winnipeg's on a back-to-back. They're going from Ottawa to Nashville, but kind of a low event game for the Jets last night. They coasted to an easy victory there, so they might be able to do it. You've got the Penguins, another team, talking about massive disappointment. They got humped by the Flyers the other day. Now they're back in Pittsburgh. You could look maybe at some plays there for Cade Sprink and Forster, because I don't think the Penguins are heading upright anytime soon. They're dismantling there. Probably Kyle Dubas looking to do that.
So the only thing that I get nervous about with Philly Pittsburgh, yes, this matchup screams Philly to roll over Pittsburgh, but I've always had this theory that there's a sense of pride that players play with in the NHL. When you get embarrassed, as bad of a team you are, or as good of a team you are, when you get embarrassed the game, prior or during a game, there's always some sort of unintentional, maybe intentional bounce back, right, in your following game, especially when you're playing the same team, right? The Flyers took it to Pittsburgh the other night, beating them 6-1. That's an embarrassing feeling if you're the Pittsburgh Penguins. So that's the one thing I would tread carefully here. I still think Philly should win that game, just because there's nothing to get excited about in Pittsburgh, but there's always this is hockey we're talking about, right? It's, when you get blown out and you get embarrassed, players, check themselves in the mirror, and they want to play with more pride in their next matchup. And maybe, the line is dictating that. It's a pick'em game. Why is this a pick'em game?
Right? Well, you're back in Pittsburgh, and it's not just like a team with pride. This is Sidney Crosby and Chris Letang and those guys. If anyone's going to rally a team back, you might maybe want to look at Penguins in the first period, perhaps, or first period plus 0.5, maybe an under, because I think you saw that the head coach Mike Sullivan also kind of called the team out for some of their toughness. I think you will see Pittsburgh come out with a little bit of spark there. Maybe look at that. You're right. I think Philly's the team to go there, and you've got Ovi on his chase as well against the Blues. The Blues offense has finally exploded. Super Huge just says there anything can happen in hockey because of the variables. There's a lot more to go on. We're going to probably check out. We'll see what else comes up as we get line rushes and practices later. But to recap what we've got today so far on the slate, Boston Bruins defenseman Mason Lohrei get a point. Sharks Habs Lane Hudson. Lane Hudson. Sorry, I almost said Cole. Lane Hudson to get an assist, even buddy. The Hudsons are on the bud. They're both
Cole had an incredible goal the other night for Boston University.
Capitals will be really excited to have him there in the future too. So Lane Hudson assist. Celebrini, Eklund to Foley stack at 3-1. Columbus, Detroit, both teams to score 3 goals at plus 175. Marchenko, Voronkov, Larkin, Raymond stack at plus 500. And then Vegas to score 5 or more goals at plus 130 at Sports Interaction. Look, gonna do better than yesterday. We got a little bit of a bar. We want to improve. It's Carlo Colaiacovo, Jared Hockman, Jingles will be back, energized. From his recap. He'll be back with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Good luck and everyone on your bets tonight.
All right, man. Let's have a bounce back night tonight. We're doing it. Bye, pumpers.